Hello there you guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just going to be officially updating you on some more current and latest news. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So reports have been coming out today. I think I've updated you on my last couple of videos today of course as well. Reports have been coming out of the media today in relation to Kostas Manolas as well, the Roma centre back, as I've been updating you today. Reports have been coming out today suggesting that Manchester United and Arsenal, have been interested in the player, and Manchester United and Arsenal, have been long admirers of Kostas Manolas, from Roma as well. But reports do suggest that reportedly Manchester United or Arsenal could get Kostas Manolas, this summer on a cut price fee, reportedly as well. After reportedly we could get him in a cut price fee, reportedly if Roma don't get into Champions League football for next season, of course as well. He has got a release clause as this Kostas Manolas, don't forget, I think his release clause is around £31 million as well. Don't forget he is age 27, he is tall as well, he's over 6 foot, he's Kostas Manolas as well. But Manchester United of course have been linked to him in the past, and obviously we do need to address our defensive deficiencies, and we need a centre back, we need an experienced centre back, we need a world class centre back and all that as well. Don't really know much about Kostas Manolas, to be quite honest with you, but there has been reports coming out about it today as well. From obviously from Roma's perspective, they want to actually try they want to try and remove his release clause so they can demand a bit more money for Kostas Manolas, to be quite honest with you. So reports do say Manchester United could land him in a cut price transfer fee, reportedly, and reports do say if Roma don't get into Champions League football for next season, reports from the Italian press have reported he will be allowed to leave Roma this summer as well. I don't think it's been a priority for Manchester United, but I updated you quite a while back, that Manchester United had showed an interest in him as well. He is age 27, of course, so he has still got a lot of years ahead of him, of course, as well. He has been at Roma a number of years now. This is his fifth season now, is it? I think this is his fifth season now with Roma. He's Kostas Manolas as well. Of course, he is Greek as well. But I think a few teams have been interested. Manchester United have been interested. Arsenal have also been interested in him as well. But reports from Italy saying that reportedly, he will be allowed to leave this summer Roma if they don't get into Champions League football for next season, of course, as well. But as I did say, he's obviously been at Roma a number of years. He's obviously, an ex-Olympiacos player where he spent a couple of years. He's an ex-Athens player as well. He's Kostas Manolas, and his release clause is around £31 million is the player as well. So reportedly that's giving us a transfer boost, to be quite honest here, because I've already identified, that where the key areas, where Manchester United, of course, do need to strengthen up. We do need a central defender. We do need someone on that right hand side. In my opinion, we need a centre defensive mid. That's fast and tenacious, of course, as well. Recent reports have suggested, what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said. He's obviously said to the Manchester United board reportedly he wants 4 signings this summer, of course, as well. But obviously, as we all know, it's still not guaranteed who gets the Manchester United job at the moment. It's obviously likely Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will get the job on a full-time basis, but obviously as well, we've still got to hire a director of football to come in as well, and I think I haven't heard much about that lately, but obviously we do need to hire a director of football to come in. Obviously, there's still some contract renewals to sort out as well, and obviously, we do expect players, to leave in the summer as well. I think Solskjaer has a rough idea, of what players he's going to sell, this summer, of course, as well. But as I did currently say, I think Solskjaer's done enough, to get the Manchester United job, on a full-time basis, of course, as well. So it will be looking likely he'll get the job on a full-time basis. He hasn't got a great managerial pedigree at the moment, as we all know, because he hasn't won out in terms of any major honours, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he hasn't had really long tenures, so far in his managerial career. He had a short tenure with Cardiff. He had 2 separate spells, with Mould as well, in management, did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course. But obviously, when he was a player, he was a long servant as a player, because he had 11 great years with Manchester United. He flourished fantastically well under Sir Alex Ferguson as well. Scored loads and loads of goals. Won lots of trophies as well, including 6 Premier League titles. But obviously, we know that investment is needed to Manchester United this summer. If we are going to start challenging for trophies, if we are, and we want to be a competitive elite level football club, but we know that we do need signings to do that as well. So it's still not fully guaranteed who will get the job at the end of the season, of course, as well. It's probably still likely Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will get it, even though we have suffered back-to-back defeats, of course, as well. It's still probably likely that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, will get the Manchester United job, of course, as well. So it's still likely it will happen. And obviously Solskjaer's, you know, he's been discussing, you know, about the club's summer transfer plan. So we have to recommend the right players to come in the summer, you know, if we are going to be potentially, you know, going to be title contenders for the new season as well. But we know that there's still talks going on, you know, as reports were going on yesterday in the media as well, as reports, you know, were suggesting now that Manchester United is still looking at the possibility of Mauricio Pochettino, as we all know as well. And it did say Ed Woodward, you know, still may want, you know, Mauricio Pochettino as Manchester United manager at the end of the season. Of course, it would be a daft thing, you know, to do, you know, if, you know, Manchester United, you know, were to try and get Pochettino at the end of the season, of course, because obviously it cost us, we'd have to pay a compensation of around 35 or 40 million pounds anywhere, you know, to get Mauricio Pochettino. Obviously, he signed a new 5-year deal back in May of last summer as well. And if we were to give Solskjaer the job on a full-time basis, it's a cheaper alternative anywhere. Plus, he knows everything about the club. You know, Pochettino doesn't know much about Manchester United, of course, as well. And obviously, we don't have to pay around 7-8 million pounds, you know, to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job on a full-time basis anyway. Because initially, at the moment, we've paid 1.8 million, of course, you know, to get him on a temporary basis, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well. So for me, Pochettino, as I said, he hasn't won out in terms of silverware as a manager, so he hasn't proven himself in that aspect because he hasn't won any silverware as a manager. As I do keep saying, you know, he's done a really, really good job with Tottenham. You know, I'm not going to be criticising, you know, what he's done at Tottenham, you know, because he has done a really, really good job with Tottenham as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, you know, Mauricio Pochettino, as we all know as well. And he's good at growing and developing young players, to be quite honest. And Tottenham have invested about £254 million, you know, since 2014, you know, when Mauricio Pochettino got recommended in. And of course, I think Pochettino's happy at Tottenham anyway. He's no intention of leaving Tottenham. I think Tottenham have got to spend some money in the summer, you know, if they're going to be potentially, you know, if they're going to be a team that's going to be start challenging for trophies and all that as well and elevate to that higher level. They do need a couple of signings this summer as well. And for a long, long time, you know, Pochettino has been the favourite, you know, to actually, you know, come from Manchester United. You know, he has been Ed Woodward's number one choice as well. But I think since Solskjaer's come in, you know, he's been at Manchester United, you know, now 3 months. I think, you know, if we had to give him the job on a full-time basis, of course, as well, you know, he is planning for the long term at Manchester United. He's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well. So he's planning. He's reportedly he has a 10-year plan. Does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer reportedly as well? So he does want a long tenure as Manchester United manager, of course, if he does get the job on a full-time basis. But he will have his say on our transfer plans this summer. Reportedly, we're going to get around 200 million pounds to spend this summer as well. So I've already identified, you know, the areas, you know, where Manchester United, of course, need to strengthen up. But reports have been coming out today in relation to Kostas Manolas, reportedly saying that Manchester United could get him for the bargain fee if, you know, Roma failed to get into Champions League for next season. Obviously, you know, if they don't get the top 5 this season, of course. Roma, from their perspective, probably will let him go if they don't get into Champions League for next season this summer, of course, and they don't get the top 4. But I think Roma want to remove his release clause so they can make a bit more money on Kostas Manolas as well. So reportedly his release clause, I think, is around £31 million as well. And he is tall as well. He's not a world-class central defender, you know, of what I heard from him. Let's be honest, he isn't a big, massive club, is he? You know, Kostas Manolas, and of course, he's never played in the Premier League and all that as well. But we definitely do need a centre-back, you know, to be quite honest with you as well. But yeah, another transfer rumours, as we all know, that's been currently going on, as we all know, guys, in the media. Reports have just been coming out in relation to David De Gea as well. You know, I do basically, you know, want to give you an update on as well. Reports do say that Real Madrid have eyed a swap deal, you know, between De Gea and reportedly Courtois as well. Reports are coming out now saying that Courtois has snubbed the move to Old Trafford reportedly as well, because reports are coming out in relation to Real Madrid saying that, you know, they could, you know, offload, you know, Courtois, you know, to fund the move for De Gea reportedly as well. But I think De Gea will end up staying at Manchester United, you know, to be quite honest with you. I know now that Zinedine Zidane's been reappointed in, you know, there has actually, you know, been rumoured, you know, of obviously, you know, De Gea going to Madrid. And we know that overall, you know, Real Madrid have been long admirers of David De Gea, of course, as well. There was on the brink of getting him, you know, back in 2015, but in the process, Real Madrid, you know, failed to get the pursuit of De Gea, because obviously, you know, it was something to do with the fax machine, and De Gea, you know, remained loyal to Manchester United, of course, as well. And then the rumours, you know, died down a little bit, but now Zinedine Zidane's been reappointed. He's identified De Gea, you know, as a potential target as well. But recent reports did say that he's happy at Manchester United. You know, he was negotiating a while back, you know, about, you know, our ambitions and that, you know, being up there, you know, challenging for honours and all that as well. But I think, Manchester United, have been in negotiations, of getting David De Gea a new contract at the club as well. And reports did say a while back that reportedly he's demanding that he wants to be the highest paid player alongside Alexis Sanchez at Manchester United. Is De Gea, if he is to sign a new contract with Manchester United as well. I think he said he was demanding around £400,000 a week or something like that as well. So hopefully somewhere along the line, we can still come to an agreement of getting David De Gea a new contract at the club as well. And over the years, he has been a good servant. This is what his 7th, 8th season now with Manchester United. Is David De Gea's, as we all know as well. He has made over 300 appearances in all competitions. He's made 100. He's got 100 Premier League clean sheets now as well. And of course, he's won everything here domestically as well. As David De Gea, especially in English football as well. And he's won quite a few individual awards. He's won the Smack Buzzer Player of the Year quite a few times. He's won the Club's Player of the Year for out of 5 seasons as well. As David De Gea, and it reportedly would cost Real Madrid around £75 million. To get him anywhere, at least £75 million, of course. Because if we know that there's no signs of him committing his future to Manchester United, or there's been no signs of him signing a new contract by the summer, of course, Manchester United, will put a price tag on the player. But I think he'll stay at Manchester United. He is under contract until 2020, because last year we activated a 12-month extension on his current contract as well to keep him here until 2020. So reports have been, obviously Real Madrid got Courtois last summer from Chelsea, but there has been talks of Courtois and De Gea as a potential swap deal. But reportedly, Courtois has reportedly subbed the move to Manchester United reportedly as well. But obviously Zinedine Zidane's been reappointed. Obviously he's going to get, I think Florentino Perez is going to give him around £300 million to spend this summer reportedly as well. That's his spending spree he's going to get, and he's already weighing up options. Zinedine Zidane, he's obviously willing to invest into that Real Madrid team this summer, and he'll probably be in the glory days back to Real Madrid of course as well, because he obviously was the only manager that won back-to-back titles, back-to-back Champions League titles of course as well. Obviously he was managerless for 10 months after he stepped down as Real Madrid manager, and now 10 months later he's back in management again with Real Madrid. So now this is his second spell in charge of Real Madrid. Is Zinedine Zidane's of course as well. So Real Madrid are set to revive their interest in David De Gea of course as well. And if David De Gea was to go, we'd obviously have to find a replacement for him. But obviously he's born in Spain, of course. He played for Atletico Madrid. That's where he risen up the ranks, and of course he's got all his relatives in Spain as well. So I don't know what's going to happen, but hopefully he will commit to a new contract term as well, David De Gea. Of course, we do know that other players are going to leave Manchester United as well. We do know that Antonio Valencia is on his way out of Manchester United in the summer as well. After Manchester United have opted against the decision, to give him that new one-year extension as well. And he's been here 10 years now, and he has been essential over the years as Antonio Valencia. He's made over 300 appearances. He's won everything here domestically as well. But I think he's on his way out of Manchester United. Definitely is Antonio Valencia. Darmian, I think, is on his way out of Manchester United as well. He's endured a very, very difficult time as a Manchester United player as well, as Matteo Darmian. So I definitely, think he's on his way out of Manchester United as well. So I think he will leave in the summer as well. Marcus Rojo, he's just recovered from injury as Marcus Rojo, but he could reportedly, leave Manchester United this summer as well. Could Marcus Rojo, because he's enjoyed a difficult time as a Manchester United player, as we all know as Marcus Rojo. Because he struggled to get every games under his belt. He struggled with his fitness regime and all that as Marcus Rojo, as we all know as well. And obviously he's not mainly first choice in that defensive line. Of course, he is good there as a backup option. Because he's versatile. Because we know most recently since Smalling's recovered from injury, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been going with Smalling and Victor Lindelof as a centre-back partnership, as we all know. And to be fair, they have blended in fantastically well together. They have been a good partnership, most recently. Apart from the Arsenal game and Wolves game, they have done actually very, very well together, to be quite honest with you as well. So I think Rojo could be on his way out in the summer as well. And I think Sanchez will leave Manchester United this summer, of course, as well. Obviously, with his substantial wages, he currently receives, it's going to be obviously, harder to find a buyer, of course, for Alexis Sanchez as well. It's going to be hard to find a buy for him, of course, as well, considering his substantial wages, as I just said. He's on over £500,000 a week, and this could have a knock-on effect, on teams, that may be interested in getting Sanchez. So Manchester United, may consider, sanctioning him out on loan, Alexis Sanchez, obviously, because it may be hard, to find a buy for him. He has been here just over a year, of course, as well, but when he has had the opportunity to play, he has looked restricted and all that. He has looked restricted, he just doesn't look look as though, he's been getting that freedom and all that as well. And he hasn't fitted under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's system. And I do think he'll end up losing that number 7 shirt. He has sustained quite a few injuries as well. He's out now with an knee injury. When he suffered it against Southampton, he did say he was going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks with Sanchez as well. And he's age 30 now, and he has lost that yard of pace, of course, as well. So I think he's on his way out of Manchester United this summer. And as I did currently say, I hope there's still some contracts, Manchester United, of course, do need to sort out as well. Hopefully somewhere along the line, we can get Ander Herrera a new contract at Manchester United as well, because he does deserve it, based on his fantastic performances, Ander Herrera. And I think he's always been a very, very consistent player, but I think since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's come in, his performances have really, really improved. He wasn't so good against Wolves, let's be honest, because obviously he just recovered from injury. He's just recently had a hamstring injury as Ander Herrera, but I think he's really improved. There's areas of his game has adapted fantastically well, and he's fitting in that midfield trio very, very well. And he has been, playing more regularly as Ander Herrera, of course, before he sustained that hamstring injury as well. So hopefully somewhere along the line, we can come to the agreement to get him a new contract. Rashford, reports are coming out saying that Manchester United have reportedly been in talks over a new 5-year deal. It initially said 6 before, but Manchester United have reportedly been in talks over a 5-year deal for Marcus Rashford. Reportedly, there has been no sign yet that reportedly Rashford has signed this new 5-year deal, or Manchester United haven't come to some kind of agreement. So reportedly, if talks are not going successful over Rashford signing this new 5-year deal, reports are coming out saying that Manchester United will reportedly trigger a 12-month extension, reportedly, as well, as it does reportedly say in the media. But if he's committed to this new 5-year deal, reportedly his wages would be around £180,000 a week, something like that as well, because obviously he's only on like £60,000 a week, is it, or is it £70,000 a week at the moment? So he will get a massive wage increase. I think he's still in the contract till 2020. He's Rashford, of course. So he's an option of third year, I think, as well. But I think it does say if there's no positives coming out of Manchester United having these contract negotiations, and we can't get Rashford to sign this new 5-year deal now, reportedly Manchester United will trigger a 12-month extension, reportedly as well. But he's been a very, very consistent player for Manchester United. Of course, he's risen up the ranks very, very well. He's been a Manchester United player, since the age of 7, as well as Marcus Rashford. And he has been in the senior squad with Manchester United, of course, since 2016 and all that, as Marcus Rashford as well. And he's done really, really well. And especially since Solskjaer's come in, he's been playing a key role as Rashford. He looks very, very effective centrally. I know you can play him out wide, but I think he looks very, very effective, centrally, does Marcus Rashford, as we all currently know. But I did say, he's been in absolutely great form. He's like lightning. The way he gets them runs in behind him is absolutely fantastic indeed as well. But I think, when he sustained that ankle injury against Liverpool, Marcus Rashford, obviously now he's recovered from it. But I think since he's recovered from it, he hasn't been playing his best. So he hasn't been playing to his potential level as Marcus Rashford, to be quite honest with you as well. But, we've done really, really well. Solskjaer's done a great, great job. You've got to praise him for what he's done. Don't forget, Manchester United, we've had a lot of injuries, don't forget, we've had a string of injuries, we didn't invest in the January transfer window, of course, so Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is obviously still, now as it stands, in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. Obviously he wants to buy into our history as well, and Solskjaer does want to get the right players to Manchester United this summer, of course, as well. I know all in all, we've invested a lot of money, since Alex Ferguson retired we must have spent £700-800 million, of course, probably 90% of the players we bought, what we spent, 90% of them players were probably the wrong players, with the wrong mentality and all that as well. But we've seen players come in, we've seen players go over the years as well. Some it's worked out, and some it hasn't, of course, as well. But yeah, Solskjaer's done a really, really good job, and I did say, my opinions, won't change in this situation. And of course, as I did say, it's essential that we do get Champions League for next season anyway. So this means we can have a more competitive summer transfer window. Of course, it is essential. So obviously, we're in the race for the top 4. Of course, I know there's a few teams in the race for the top 4. Obviously, if we don't get top 4, obviously we want to try and succeed in the Champions League as well, which is very, very essential indeed. So now, as it stands, we've got the international break, as we all currently know. We've got the international break. As we all know, we've got the international break coming up. We've got the international break, as we all know, as well. So hopefully after the international break, we can get back to winning ways against Watford as well. So hopefully, as we know, Lukaku as well, he's out with an ankle injury as well. We've still got injuries at the moment, of course. We've seen a lot of players now recover from injury, but Lukaku's now out injured, with an ankle injury as well. I hope his ankle injury, is not too severe as well. I think he's set to miss the international break, Belgium's upcoming games, whilst during this international break, because he has got an ankle injury. He sustained this against PSG. He's been sent for the scan. Reportedly, he's been assessed as well as Romelu Lukaku. And I think he's regained his position, in the team lately, as Romelu Lukaku, and he's been in really, really good form, to be quite honest with you. And overall, he's got a really, really good pedigree in the Premier League, as we all know, as Romelu Lukaku. He's scored loads and loads of goals, and his ratio's very, very good, to be quite honest with you. But I think Lukaku performs better, as I do keep saying, when he's got someone, to support him in our front line, to be quite honest with you. And I think, Rashford giving that support in that front line, I think Lukaku performs better. He looks more effective and all that as well, and he improves on his game and all that does Romelu Lukaku. So he's got an ankle injury. I don't know how long he's initially out for. To be quite honest with you, Romelu Lukaku, as I said. But most recently, I have been impressed with his performances, indeed, as well. So yeah, I think Solskjaer will still get the Manchester United job on a full-time basis. I do actually think that Manchester United, do want to actually, announce this. They do want to announce this before the end of this month, as reports were saying a couple of weeks back as well. But we do want to officially announce it before the end of the season, of course, as well. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does deserve it, to be quite honest with you, because he's getting the best out of the players. He's give the young players a chance as well, which is good. So it's good to see that Solskjaer is gaining the young play that the young players are gaining Ole Gunnar Solskjaer trust as well, which is very, very good indeed. And I wanted to give you an update on this video, about Kostas Manolas. Reportedly, he's not been a priority, for Manchester United as Kostas Manolas as well. But reports have been coming out today, according to the Italian press, reportedly that the Greek, this is in, I think it's in the Mirror, or is it the Sun or something like that? That reportedly said that the Greek defender will be reportedly allowed to leave Roma this summer if Roma fail to get into Champions League next season. So if they fail to qualify for the Champions League next season, reportedly Kostas Manolas, will be allowed to leave. Manchester United or reportedly Arsenal could get him in a bargain fee because his release clause is around £31 million as well. So reportedly Manchester United, may now go in for him in the summer. Even recent reports did suggest out Solskjaer is focusing on more attacking additions to the squad. Reportedly, he wants his priority is to get a right winner to Manchester United this summer, as well as recent reports, did suggest out as well, because he did say he wants to give our current defenders a chance, to prove and impress themselves and all that as well. But most of the players, have really stepped up to the plate since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's come in. We've been getting the best out of the players. As I did say, the only player that hasn't impressed is obviously, Alexis Sanchez, to be quite honest with you, because he hasn't showed any disciplinary, so he has lacked disciplinary, and he just hasn't established himself well in the Manchester United team, to be quite honest with you as well. And in recent weeks, when we've obviously had them string of injuries in midfield, I've been very, very impressed, with Andrés Pereira. He's been playing really, really well most recently. Scott McTominay, has been playing very, very well, most recently as well. Maybe some people are arguing, saying that, McTominay should have had the chance against Wolves. Maybe Andrés Pereira, as well, should have had the chance against Wolves as well, because, most recently, they've been in good form. Obviously, they were coming into the team, because obviously we had injuries to Matic and Ander Herrera and all that as well, and they did perform well, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, obviously, before we do commit to any signings in the summer, obviously we still need to know who's going to be our manager, of course, because it's not guaranteed Solskjaer will get the job. But I think Solskjaer has indicated that he still believes he'll end up getting the Manchester United job on a full-time basis, of course, as well. He'll obviously demand that he wants a long tenure with Manchester United, of course, if he does get the Manchester United job on a full-time basis, of course, as well. Of course, we still know, as I did say earlier on, that we're still looking to hire a director of football to come into Manchester United as well. So we do need to sort that out as well. So anyway, guys, that's mainly everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel, guys. As I did say, if you do consider a subscriber to my channel, as always, and take care. God bless, guys, and I'll see you guys all again very, very soon.